Well, hello everybody. I had an interesting phone call this morning with Don Braid, actually, who called to ask about my opinions on Donald Trump's victory in the United States and what does that mean for the UCP. And out of that conversation came a few things. As far as my views on Donald Trump and his victory, it what needs to be, I think, highlighted here is the extent to which he won. This wasn't just a narrow margin. This wasn't just this was absolutely, undisputably red, Republican. And what does that mean? I think what it truly means is that people are fed up with the status quo. Affordability is a huge issue. People are concerned about their futures and the opportunities. They are basically displaying 100% their disapproval of the last 4 years and what's happened. And they are putting their faith, their trust in somebody who is coming across as anti-globalist and nationalist, who's going to protect their interests and go to battle for them. But out of this conversation, which I thought was very interesting, Don had mentioned he had a conversation with Cynthia Moore, who is the former executive for the UCP party. And his comment, and apparently she has said this on the record, so I'm okay to say this, is that the UCP needs to get rid of these one-issue party members. Now, I attended the UCP AGM, and I'd like to know specifically, Cynthia, who you're referring to, because I had not met a single person there, whether you were voting for Danielle, against Danielle, or didn't have an opinion on the matter. There was not anybody there that I met that was a single issue party member. What issues are you referring to? COVID? Because I'll tell you, the people that were there that were upset about COVID are also upset about net zero. They're upset about the immigration. They're upset about the economy and affordability and inflation and housing. They're upset about their Alberta pension plan. They're upset about the fact that parental rights have not been passed. And, they were upset about girls having the ability to participate in their own sports. Alberta Bill of Rights, freedoms, freedom of speech, freedom of expression, the media. The list is extensive. And I had not met a single person who was there on one issue, except for the handful of people who were there who could not address any issues and were simply there to cheerlead Danielle Smith and to vote for Danielle Smith. So are those the single issue party people that you think we need to get rid of? You see, this is the difference between a conservative and, my opinion, a liberal, which so many people in this so-called United Conservative Party actually are. Progressive conservative, aka liberal. I would lump Cynthia Moore into this category. She sees herself as a progressive conservative. Sees herself as somebody who is probably more morally superior, intellectually superior than us mere peasant members, This is the attitude that has gotten the politics and the Democrats in particular, if you want to compare some of what's going on in the U.S., into trouble. Joe Biden comes out and calls the MAGA, voter garbage. You think that's productive? It's not the people on the true right that are calling other people names. It's not the people on the right that are, trying to strip away rights and freedoms of everybody to express themselves. It's only those on the left. It's either their opinion, their way, or the highway. There is no room for debate. There is no room for discussion. There is no room for confrontation or conflict. It's either you agree with us or you don't. Or you're a misogynist or a racist or, filled with hate speech and all these other things. That is not productive. And it's backfiring on them. And it's going to backfire here in Canada as well. You're seeing it already with Justin Trudeau. If the UCP wants to go down that route, Cynthia, yeah, it's going to backfire on you too. You know, so we have to embrace the fact that we've got different members that have different concerns. But you also have to embrace the fact that this is the United Conservative Party. This is not the United Liberal Party. This is not the United Centralized Planning Communist Party. This is conservative. It's supposed to be conservative. So what does it mean to be conservative? Well, I'll let you today decide for yourselves what that means. But to say that I'm fiscally conservative but progressive in my social policies, then that to me says you are not conservative. You're progressive. So how far left of center will determine whether you're a liberal or whether you're a full-on communist, or, you know, you decide. How woke do you want to be? But the reality is there wasn't a single person that I met, and many of them disagreed with me. Many of them had come up to me to have conversations with, you know, Nadine, you have to take a better approach, you know, your methods, and they had concerns. But you know what? We all agreed that we were all there for the right reasons. We were all there to have our voices heard. We all agree that we want the best possible future, the strongest possible province with the most freedoms, and we want our government to protect our rights. We can all disagree with how to get there, but you can't do that if you're just going to dismiss everybody who disagrees with you, Cynthia Moore. It's like, this is the problem. I've heard now numerous times, oh, we've got to get rid of some of the people in the UCP. Okay, well, what are you going to do? If you keep going down the path that you're going, then you will. But here's the thing. You're not going to remain a United Conservative Party for very long. Don also asked me, he says, what do you think of a new Conservative Party starting? I said, well, you know, Danielle has a very strong mandate right now and a tremendous amount of support. If there's ever a single time in her history that she can be truly bold and truly conservative, it is right now. And if she does that, I think you're going to have a strong united party. But if we're going to start playing games, we're going to start throwing people out because we simply have a difference of opinion, yeah, that's not going to work, because there are already people rallying true blue conservatives to say, let's start a new party. Now, I don't necessarily agree with that right now. Danielle has a strong mandate. Give her the opportunity to actually follow through on it. But if you don't, then again, you do that at your own peril. And that's just reality. Conservatives feel as though they have no place to go. They feel as if they've been left behind. Issues like net zero, immigration, issues around, parental rights, freedom of speech, bodily autonomy, property. These things are truly conservative. And if the Conservative Party doesn't see that and doesn't uphold and respect those rights, then yes, there is a problem here. You have to ask yourself, are you truly conservative? And that's a serious question. So I wanted to share this today because, you know, the UCP AGM, for all it was worth, I met some truly amazing people on all sides of the Danielle support. You know, I support her, I don't support her. I disagree with what she's doing, but not enough to not vote for her. To write down, that's it, I've had it, we're done, I'm voting against her. Every part of that spectrum was included in the conversations that I had. CA members, CA executives, just down to simple members like myself. I'm just a member, just like you. And if we don't recognize the importance of dialogue, of conversation, and respect, and this is probably the biggest one for me, is respect. Tolerance of difference of viewpoints. Just because I disagree with you doesn't mean that I have to hate you. Doesn't even mean that I dislike you. There are lots of people that I disagree with that I love dearly, right? And that's part of what this is like we can all agree to disagree. So I'm just going to throw that out there. I want people to know, because Cynthia held a very high, prominent position within the United Conservative Party, and these are still people who surround Danielle Smith. And it's this type of attitude, it's this type of policy opinion that kind of gets implemented that hurts the party. It doesn't help the party. So if you're truly sincere about building a united Conservative Party, well, it's time that you recognize that people are going to have difference of opinions, and we need to embrace that. We need to embrace the debate. We need to embrace the dialogue, and we have to encourage people to speak up. And that's how we get to the best result. That's how we get to the best policies. That's how we get to the best government. Not through oppressing and suppressing these individuals and their views and opinions. You know, I was reminded of Danielle in 2015, you know, when she crossed the floor with the wild rose and her quote, "This is no longer my party." Well, what does that mean for this United Conservative Party? Right? We have to have a broad enough tent to include people to be able to disagree and still find enough commonality to move forward as one. That is now over onto the shoulders of Danielle Smith and this administration. And the fact that Donald Trump just got elected in the United States, not only with what will be the House, but with the Senate and the popular vote. Something that has not been seen since 2004, the popular vote, going to a Republican. This is huge. This is the opportunity to be truly conservative, to embrace conservative values, and to be strong on policy, to operate with conviction, and to move this party forward. And that is going to be a telltale sign in the next couple of months as to which direction the United Conservative Party truly moves. God bless you all.